Hi, in this section, we're going to go over the Prolexic Analytic API. But first, I wanted to remind you that in the Security Center dashboard under Web Security for Prolexic, you have routed map, routed trends and FBM, routed health, routed profile, and routed events. Almost all of these types of analytic reports are consumable via the API. So by simply logging in with your credentials to the Akamai community, and you go to techdocs.akamai.com/prolexic/reference/API, this is where you'll actually see all the API information to pull all the relevant data. Now, one of the things that you have to remember about the API system is that there are certain reports that you get from it, but first you actually have to set up a API agent or a client. So what that means is that you go to the create authentication credentials. You'll go into the Akamai dashboard on the left-hand side. You'll go down to identity and access, and you go and create a API client. Once you create the API client, you will give that client read-only or read and write permissions, and then you'll also give it a token. So based on that token is how you're able to get the service up and running and get access to the reports. So things like metrics, show me the telemetry from the flow-based monitoring. You can get metrics of showing me things like on endpoints, on IP endpoints. You'll be able to get attack reports, all the alerting events and attack report events, as well as anything that's a high that's considered a critical event, as well as time series data. There are different definitions of attack types here. So when you see these attack types, just know that these are the definitions of that group. There is error handling messages in here that you might want to be aware of as you start to build your connector, how to handle troubleshooting. But really the real gist of the analytics is getting relevant data for either troubleshooting or for attack response. So here in the get attack report, this might be that after you've already understood what the attack ID is and the contract stream. So you need those first. So maybe what you want to do is first list all the attack reports based on an end and start time with the contract ID. Once you get that data, then you'll be able to go get an attack report, which will then over on the side, if you look at it, it's the same data that came out of the routed events information, which is the attack ID, attack type name, destination port, end, bandwidth, end time, peak, packets per second. It gives you all this information. What scrubbing center saw what. So it's very useful information for you to be able to plot out into your dashboards. Again, critical events would be all the events that are classified as a high or critical. All events will just give you medium and high alerts. So, if you wanted to see all events being generated. Now, remember, the SOC is going to create an incident response cycle based on high events only, not on medium or low events. Metric types, again, looking at the different metric types, you can look at, the current connections within the bandwidth, both packets in, protocols, bandwidth, subnet prefixes. You can do a lot of segmentation here, both on pre-mitigation and post-mitigation. Again, here you can look at different types of attributes for the metric itself, which is more about bandwidth again. And then time series, you're able to get data based on a rolling window of time based on destinations. So give me the start and end of the time sequence based on locations of scrubbing centers and to specific destinations. So you could plot out traffic, like what is the traffic to origin looking at for bits per second from DFW? What is it showing from a bits per second on the border? What is the aggregate data showing in post mitigation, etc.? So you can see a lot of different components of the usage versus having to maybe go into the routed trends dashboard under the Security Center interface.